So this mushroom is called a slippery jack, Suillus caibabensis, which is a southwestern variant of, I believe, Suillus granulatus. I could be wrong on that, but this is a very, very common mushroom out here in Arizona, and actually in a normal monsoon season, these are everywhere. This is like one of the most common mushrooms there are around here, and I'm super happy to see this. And I'm not happy to see this necessarily because it's a delicious edible mushroom, because it's not. It is edible, but it tends to be very bland, and when you cook it, it has a real sliminess like okra to it, so it's definitely an acquired taste. But I am excited to see this mushroom here because in my experience I've found that this is one of the very first monsoon mushrooms to appear, to pop up when we get a significant amount of rain. And we have had quite a bit of rain for the last, I don't know, week and a half to 2 weeks. The last 4 or 5 days have been raining every single day. It is pretty windy today, being I think that we're going to get the remnants of Hurricane Hillary, which was coming up from Mexico, and I think we're supposed to get some flash floods and stuff this next couple of days. So hopefully it won't be too bad, but I'm looking forward to the rain, and that'll help more of these mushrooms pop up. But that being said, I am happy to see this mushroom because it is one of the first mushrooms to appear, which also means that some of the more desirable mushrooms are going to be following pretty soon, such as the king boletes and the chanterelles and many, many other mushrooms. Now, it's still a very beautiful mushroom. It has that stereotypical mushroom-shaped cap it's a nice, usually a tan to a golden color. Underneath, it has this beautiful bright yellow dense sponge, this pore surface, which is where the mushroom releases its spores. Typically these mushrooms are very sticky and slippery, which is where they get their name. It hasn't rained today yet, so this one is a little dry, so I can handle it, but normally they're pretty sticky. But they do grow in small clusters, and they are usually typically associated with pine trees, which I'm kind of in a mixed conifer area right now, but primarily ponderosa pine right here. I've also noticed that they tend to really do well in disturbed areas, so along the sides of roads is a perfect place to find this mushroom. Now, this is an edible mushroom. Now, most people typically would pickle this mushroom. When I do that, I try to use these smaller little baby ones like this. Here's some other smaller ones too. And then you just pickle those in a brine with vinegar, sugar, and lots of spices, such as allspice, cinnamon, cloves, bay leaves, chili pepper, and it comes out pretty good. It does have that sliminess, so you have to be aware of that. But I think the best way to use these mushrooms is to slice them up, put them on a cookie sheet, and then put them in your oven and let them dry out. And then when you get the dried mushrooms, put them in a food processor or a coffee grinder and grind them up, and then you can use that as a seasoning to put on a steak. A lot of people use them to enrich soups or stews or gravies, things like that, and it does add a nice mushroom flavor to it, because typically these mushrooms, I think, are rather bland, but by drying them out in the oven, it really condenses that flavor, and they really get a nice mushroom flavor from that. So that's one of the best ways to do it. But I'm going to take a few of these with me, and I'm going to try to cook them in a recipe that I think is going to accentuate and utilize that slipperiness, that sliminess in a good way. So we're going to take a few of these with us. Now, it's super cool to finally see some mushrooms out here in the woods. We've had such a late monsoon that I've been looking for weeks and months, actually, and finally I'm super stoked to finally see the mushrooms popping up. Here. Wow, that's a big old tree. Ooh, Arlo's cooling off a little bit in the water. And then we're going to head back up to the Jeep and on to our next adventure. Got mud all over my seat. So Arlo and I are up on the rim here. It's been a crazy monsoon day. I had to drive through some crazy rain to get up here. But my idea was to cook some lunch up here on the rim with the monsoons in the background passing by. So let's see if this was a good idea or a bad idea. It's pretty windy, but let's see what happens. The idea was to make a slippery jack egg drop soup, and I thought that that would be a perfect way to utilize the slippery jack mushrooms and that slipperiness, that sliminess that comes with the mushroom will help to thicken the soup, and should be a perfect to that. So let's go. So this is what I have to work with today. Okay, so this is the slippery jack mushrooms, which I've already kind of quartered up. I have scallions, I have ginger, a couple of slices of ginger here. This is cornstarch in case we need a little bit more thickener, 2 eggs, and then this is some dried porcini mushrooms. Now these are some porcini mushrooms that I collected a couple of years ago when we had a really good monsoon. I'm hoping to do that again this year, but I'm going to use these dried mushrooms to fortify our chicken stock to make it give it a really good mushroom flavor, and I'm going to add that as well as the slippery jack mushrooms in there to give it more of a fresh mushroom flavor and to give it that thickness from the slipperiness, the ropiness that comes from the mushrooms. So all right, let's attack this thing, and hopefully we'll have some good monsoons in the background for you to watch while I'm doing this. All right. All right, we're gonna get this started. So we have our chicken broth. couple of pieces of ginger. I'm going to add all those slippery jack mushrooms. I'm going to add my dried porcinis. Now those porcinis are going to add a lot of mushroom flavor. So hopefully we can get this broth to come up to a simmer. The wind is picking up pretty good, and it's making it a little difficult for my little stove here. But the whole idea though really here is to really fortify this chicken stock with all that mushroom flavor. In the meantime, I'm going to get my eggs ready. And we'll just set those aside and wait for our stock to come up to temperature. Yeah, my stove is struggling here in the wind. There's a little salt and white pepper. One last thing, I'm going to add a couple of chiltepines, 3 chiltepines to this. Crush those in there to add a little bit of kick to it. Oops, smashed that one. Monsoon's coming on pretty quick here, so I'm gonna have to make this snappy. So there you have it, slippery jack egg drop soup. And it's delicious, perfect for a rainy day like this. You can really taste the ginger. Those slippery jacks added a nice little bit of thickness, viscosity to the soup. I did end up adding the cornstarch to it to thicken it up a little bit more. But the dried porcinis, which I added, really helped to give it that real deep mushroom flavor. And in the end, I put a little bit of chiltepines in there to kick it up, give it a little bit of spice, and it's delicious. I would definitely cook this again, and I think that it really helps showcase the slipperiness of the slippery jacks perfectly. Monsoon's coming on quick here. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe. It really helps us a lot, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm about to get wet here. If you can see what I'm seeing. Hopefully my other camera over there is picking it up. Woo, it's coming on strong. Crazy. Get back to the car. Whoa. I knew I was gonna get wet. I got soaked. But Arlo, he's alright. He's alright. He was waiting in the car. That was crazy. The soup was good though. Wow, that storm came on strong. I could see it coming.